Hey guys, this is MeTeej66, and after thinking about it for a while, I decided that my first movie review will be Child's Play, from 1988, directed by Tom Holland, starring Catherine Hicks, Chris Sarandon, Alex Vincent, and Brad Dourif. The film is about a serial killer named the Lakeshore Strangler, played by Brad Dourif, and one night he's cornered by the cops and is pursued into a toy store, where he is then killed by a police detective played by Chris Sarandon. Before dying, however, he manages to transfer his soul into a doll named the Good Guy doll, which is basically a satirical version of the Cabbage Patch Kids, if you remember those from the 80s. Apparently, he's been taught voodoo by this, I don't know, I'm not sure what he's supposed to be, like a priest or something like that, because you see him later in the film, but whatever. He knows voodoo. And then the doll is alive and is bought by a mother, played by Catherine Hicks, and given to her son, Alex Vincent. Andy Barclay's the character's name. And so this doll's alive, and he tells Andy, but no one else. And Andy tries to tell people that his doll's alive, and of course, obviously, no one believes him. And the doll just basically goes around killing people, doing what it did before. This movie is pretty dated. I mean, in some ways, it's very much a product of its time. I could absolutely see people being like, putting a child in danger is definitely a no-no today. You would not be able to do that anymore in today's day and age of Facebook and social media and everything like that. There'd be major protests, and it is a little mean-spirited at times. But I don't think to the point of like being unenjoyable. The production work in the movie is pretty good, though. There's a couple of explosions in the movie. There's one where like an abandoned house is basically destroyed that is pretty imaginative. There's also an explosion at the beginning where Charles Lee Ray transfers his soul into the doll, which is very effective. I mean, I haven't seen explosions that good in a long time. The movie's not really particularly scary. I mean, it's more of a pop horror film, I'd say. It's very suspenseful, but I wouldn't say it's, terrifying where you're going to have nightmares about it, although at least I didn't. I mean, I guess some people who are afraid of dolls might, but not really me. The performances are pretty good. Catherine Hicks is, the stereotypical mom, very white bread, very, chipper and happy, and she does a fine job. Chris Sarandon as the detective is also good, although his character is kind of boring and uninteresting. He's just sort of the detective. But he does a good job with what he's given. Alex Vincent, I'm gonna be nice and say because he was 6 years old at the time of filming and he hadn't done any other film work, but I still gotta be honest, his performance was a little I wouldn't say robotic, but a little forced. You can kind of tell he's reading off cue cards, or he learned his lines a little too well. But I mean, granted, he was 6, so I'll cut him some slack, But he's at least a likable kid. I will say there's a moment toward the end where he does have a very effective crying scene where he's pretty convincing. I must say, I felt sorry for him. The effects are pretty good. It's old school animatronics, and I love old school animatronics. They're just so much better than CGI, and always will be. There is some parts where where they basically dressed up a little person in a Chucky costume and made a small set, because obviously Chucky can't really walk around that much, or you can't really see him walk around. So that was the only way they could figure to do that, and it's very effective, though. There's some creepy parts where the doll's walking around where, it's just damn unnerving. It's a shame that they didn't use this technique in any of the sequels, which are also watchable, but they get progressively sillier as the movie goes along. But this first one is excellent. I would absolutely recommend this to any horror fan. Little dated, but not to the point of it being unenjoyable if you know what you're getting into. I would give this movie a solid A-. So, if you liked my movie reviews and want me to do more, I will do more, and hope to see you next time on MeTeej66's Movie Reviews.